Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
Nino Brown Boxing, and I'm back in the building. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. So, Tyson Fury is on his way back. You know, I like Tyson Fury. I mean, he's not my favorite heavyweight, but I like the guy. I like how he conducts himself. He's very entertaining. He got balls on him, and he conducts himself like a heavyweight is supposed to conduct himself. Now, from my understanding of how all of this stuff goes, and if I'm wrong, correct me, you know, I'm sure like things in boxing change and people have different opinions on how it works. But to my understanding, if a person is the lineal champion in any division, you cannot be stripped of your lineal status. That's how an old head explained it to me when I was first introduced to boxing, like when I was a kid. You know, compared to some guys when I was a kid, it's not a long history of boxing. I'm only 28, but it is what it is. An old head explained to me that you can't be stripped of your lineal status. There's no lineal belt. There's no physical lineal belt. The lineal championship, it goes back to the history of the first heavyweight champion and the guy that defeated him, and so on and so on and so on, all the way up to that current guy in boxing that, you know, has that lineal championship. So at this moment in time, Tyson Fury is still technically the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, which makes Anthony Joshua a paper champion. Now, I used to always, you know, when I first started getting the understanding some years back of how all of this stuff goes with all these different sanctioning bodies and how it really works and what's the paper champion and who's a real champion, and you know, how do they come to the conclusion that one guy's a paper champion and one guy's not. This situation with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury is a perfect example of who's the real champion, being Tyson Fury, someone that had his belt stripped away from him, and while he maintained those physical belts, he had the lineal champion status. And then Anthony Joshua was someone that picked up those vacant belts. So the IBF strap against Charles Martin, who wasn't a champion at all, and who was a champion, and he picked up the vacant title, and Charles Martin was defeated by Anthony Joshua, that became the IBF champion. And then Joshua fought Klitschko, who was the lineal champion before Tyson Fury defeated him. So he beat Klitschko, he picked up that WBA strap, and now we're pretty much fast forward into today. So with Tyson Fury still maintaining his lineal status, I mean, that pretty much makes everyone else a paper champion, my boy Deontay Wilder included, you know. So now that Tyson Fury is back, I don't know what route he want to take. I don't know if he wants to jump directly into the fire. I don't believe that would be smart because of the history of his condition and his condition of, you know, drug using, and his conditioning of him gaining all of that weight. But, you know, the guy takes a couple tune-up fights and he comes back, he get in the ring. You know, he knocks off a couple of low-level guys, get back to the groove of things, get his rhythm and timing back. And now it's time to fight Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. I mean, in my opinion, it should be Tyson Fury's choice who he wants to fight. And we all know by definition, since Anthony Joshua is the paper champion, Tyson Fury should definitely be the A side. You know, Anthony Joshua's star status blew up because he beat Klitschko. But the man that beat Klitschko when he was on his winning streak and he wasn't on an extremely long layoff was Tyson Fury. So all of the talk that Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua's team that they like to use to their advantage when it comes to guys like Joseph Parker and Deontay Wilder, that talk definitely doesn't apply to a guy like Tyson Fury. So since Tyson Fury is the lineal heavyweight champion, I don't know how he's going to go about it, but they definitely need to go about it in a way that he's compensated fairly it should be a 50-50 split. It wasn't Anthony Joshua's fault that Tyson Fury lost his belt. That was Tyson Fury's fault. So I feel like he shouldn't get 100%. He shouldn't get full A-side status, but Tyson Fury is definitely not the B-side. So let's just split it all down the middle and make the fight happen so we can see who's the best when Tyson Fury feels like he's ready to make that type of return. And if not, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury can get it on. And at that point, whoever wins, that's the guy. That's the number one guy at heavyweight. A lot of Anthony Joshua's status and height, even though I do like the guy, a lot of his status and height goes out the window because of the return of Tyson Fury. And all of those alphabet belts don't mean anything when you're comparing it to the lineage of the heavyweight championship that dates back to all the great champions in this division. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they make the fight happen. Like, we don't have to wait around and deal with bullshit moving into 2019 and, people still complaining about money. So this is Nino Brown Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC. Peace.